Hi, I'm Finlay Boland and welcome to Mind Mechanics. I want to talk to you about something that I discovered, but isn't essentially my discovery, although I discovered it by accident and it saved my life, changed my life. And it's something that's been spoken about for millennia and is spoken about now and is spoken about in many different ways. I've simplified it, I believe, to the point where anyone can do it. There's no wordiness, it's not overcomplicated about ascending different chakras and meditating for long periods of time. If you follow this simple system that I'm going to give you, now the system is simple, the effort is required and it can be difficult at times, but it will change your life beyond even what you can imagine if you stick with it. And the reason I think you should listen to me is we should listen to people who have, like if you want to learn a trade and be good at it, the best thing to do is become an apprentice, and you learn from someone who's worked their way through things and resolved problems, come up against difficulties, found ways around them, found ways to fine tune things. Like in the world, people like Nelson Mandela and the difficulties he faced, and you see what he managed to do with his belief. I, probably the same as a lot of you, have been through a really hard time, and all our hard times are hard to us. And I've been in a gutter. I couldn't get any lower. There's only 3 places I could have went from there. Death, stay where I am, or claw my ass out of there. And I clawed my ass out of there. And I tried everything. Tried all the systems methods. I tried all the methods everybody could say. People go to you, just feel happy and you'll be happy, hold happiness in your mind. But how do you do that? Nothing worked for me, so I started to do something that just came to me. You could call it, some people might call it an epiphany, I don't know. It just came to me. It was I contemplated and thought a lot about how I'm going to fix this. I've got a wife and children. I had to do something to save myself because I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be saved. I wanted to leave. I had knots in my stomach, depression, bad thoughts all the time. So what I did is I started lying to myself and pretending I was okay. And if I felt bad, I'd lie to myself. I feel great. Oh, I feel so good. What's that negative thought? What's that bad thought? I feel fantastic. I don't feel that. And then what happened is I started to feel good. And then I was like, what have I done here? How have I done this? So I started to research and dig. And what I found was something amazing. That what I did has been talked about for millennia. And when I say millennia, I mean thousands of years. As far back as we can see in our history, people have been speaking about this. Jesus, kingdom of God is within you. Know thyself. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, 2,000 years ago. Your soul is coloured by your thoughts. Right? I think it's actually your soul has died by the colour of your thoughts. But you get the premise. We've got people more recent times, like, well, we had Buddha, similar messages. More recent times we had Neville Goddard, who believed that the mind, imagination, was God itself. And so when I looked into all this, I didn't know what I'd done, and I was forcing this, right? So after a research, and I said to myself, I've got to figure this out. This is a secret. And this could save anyone from depression, losing their temper with their children, negative thoughts all day, can't see a future, you name it. This is a fix for everything. And it's inside you. There's also an ancient culture that's over 2,000, I think going on 3,000 years old. And it's a very long story, but the premise of the story was the creator was talking to nature and saying, look, I've created these humans. I want to hide this secret from them until they're ready. And it might ring a bell, and the fish said, I'll take it to the bottom of the sea. He said, no, eventually it'll go there. The bird said, I'll take it to the top of the mountain. He said, no, eventually it'll go there. A star said, I'll take it to the moon. He said, no, eventually it'll go there. And they decided to hide it within man, because very few will look there. Again, this is what we're talking about. So I'm going to get straight into it, right? Now, you're going to start to get control over your mind when you do this. And the negative thoughts will go away. Now, eventually, you stick with me and I'll teach you how to stop your mind thinking at all unless you say it's okay. I'm at the point where my mind doesn't think anything unless I say so. I can have no thoughts all the time if I want. You don't have to be an enlightened guru. Anyone can do this. But you do need to have desire, and you do have to put in the work. You can't be overweight and go and run a marathon tomorrow. It takes time. You can't be underweight and slim and enter a bodybuilding competition. You get what I'm saying? So let me get straight into the loop. I've broke it down into a loop. You have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind, okay? And the conscious mind has thoughts. Now, the conscious mind passes those thoughts to the unconscious mind. Now, you might think those thoughts are coming from the unconscious mind, like negative thoughts. Let's start with negative thoughts. But what they're actually coming from is an unconscious program, a habitual program. So the brain wants to use as little energy as possible. It uses 25% of the body's energy, even though it takes up only about 2% of the mass. So it's really powerful. And it wants to conserve energy. So if it can run things unconsciously, like driving after you've learnt it, and it becomes habitual skill, what you don't realize is that you've made your negative mindset, your monkey mind, into a habitual skill that is running an unconscious program. But that's not coming from the unconscious mind. That's just running all the time. You're unaware that you're unaware of it. Now, your thoughts can cause actual changes in your body, which means your thoughts can actually make you sick or make you well. And I'll prove that your thoughts can make physical changes really quickly to you, that you'll understand. It's a crude way, so forgive me, but I'll get straight to the point. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm serious about this. I'm serious about helping humanity. I'm coming to you from a place of honesty. I'm grateful now for the hard road I went through. I won't be sitting here. So I'm grateful for that, because I feel the way I do now, and I've got the control I have, and I can pass this message on to my fellow humans. Now, if you want to get sexually aroused, right, and I said excuse me for this crudeness, you imagine whatever you want to imagine. Physical changes happen in the body. Now, no one's present, it's all in your mind. So the mind, and that simple example proves that you can cause physical changes, okay? So, negative unconscious program running, yeah? Or you might consciously be bringing up negative things and deliberately thinking about them. There's both can be going on, or one or either. Then that gets passed to the unconscious mind, who's the unconditional lover. I call her a she. You can call your unconscious mind whatever makes you comfortable. She's my unconditional lover. She doesn't judge my thoughts, whether they're good or bad. She doesn't say, that's bad, you shouldn't think that. The conscious mind does that. The unconscious mind just enables what you need. So if it's negative, she'll enact hormones, chemicals, proteins to be released into the physical body, ready to deal with this, because it doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. That's why you can imagine yourself into an aroused state with no one present. So she will drop all that into the system, the physical body, and that gives you a feeling, these chemicals, hormones and proteins. Now that feeling will dictate your personality on that day, how you interact with the world, the universe, your fellow human beings, everything. You know, you'll look at someone and go, oh, she's in the right mood. He's really grumpy, or you seem really jolly and happy today, because you've got chemicals which are a result of what's going on in your mind, which make you feel, comes out in your personality. Your personality dictates your personal reality. Your personal reality will dictate how you engage with the world and the universe, then you'll have an experience based on that, which then will create a thought, and we're back at the beginning of the loop. Now, if you've got that wrong, or it's running itself, you're just going round and round. Bad thoughts, create an unconscious, create the unconscious mind, instructions to release negative hormones, chemicals and proteins which make you feel negative, grumpy, whatever way, which affects your personality, which affects your personal reality, which affects your experience, which affects your thoughts, and then you're back at the beginning again. Now, if we change that, now the unconscious mind receives a positive affirmation. She's the unconditional lover. She releases positive hormones, chemicals, proteins into the body. You feel better, your personality is better, your personal reality is better, your experience of the world is better, and you're at the beginning where you have better thoughts and you're in a loop. Now, the key is, you don't need to have a fantastic experience to have the thought at the beginning. To break this loop, all you need to do is pull up a memory. So as soon as you have a bad thought, now in the beginning I forced this out, like viciously, violently, through temper and force, blasted it away out of my mind. And that was a really, really hard way to do it. And what I want you to do is not to use any force on a negative memory, because that any action or attention causes a release of energy. Energy must be transferred, but it's never destroyed, but it has to go somewhere. Don't even recognize it. Don't thank it for showing up and showing you what you shouldn't feel, and then consequently what you should feel. Don't tell it to bugger off. Don't do anything. As soon as it shows up, completely ignore it. Completely. Pull up a good memory that you can remember. Pull it up and overlap it on top of that. Drown it out with a good memory, okay? And if you're in such a bad way you can't even find a good memory, do you know what you do? You make it up. You use your imagination, because conscious and unconscious mind, they don't know the difference between reality and imagination. Remember what I told you in the beginning. So now you can imagine yourself running on a beach, even if you don't have a lover. You're joyful, you're holding hands, you're scantily clad, the sun's setting, it's beautiful, you're happy. Imagine what it feels like to be happy. Imagine the sun in your face. Imagine a feeling of joy and peace. Unconscious mind releases positive hormones, chemicals, proteins. You feel better, personality is better, personal reality is better. Then you have a real experience, which is better. Then you have a real thought, which is better and more positive, and you're in a more positive cycle. If you can't, like I say, pull one, make one up, you can imagine what things are. It doesn't make any difference. And this is how you manifest your own reality, okay? Then what eventually I want you to do is have peace of mind. So you have complete control of your mind. But that's really, really hard, and it takes time. So what I propose to do is, you've got a monkey mind at the moment, right? Like most of us, I had, and most people are suffering from, because the mind is the greatest gift and the greatest curse. And it's chattering, it's throwing all these things. It's trying to look after you, by the way, because the negative thoughts have laid down really strong neural networks. And the longer it's been there, the faster that fires. And you're talking about 100 to 150 meters a second. And neural network, when that fires down there, that thought, it's super fast, it's instant, and the thicker the axon, the quicker it fires. And I would say the thickness of the axon is relevant to the amount of attention you've given that thought or memory, or how long you've had it. So the longer you've been in a negative loop, and you may not have known it, the stronger that's going to be. So it's going to take attention and work. And I'm not talking, say they say go and meditate for an hour. I'm not talking meditate for an hour. I'm not asking to do that. If anything, we could call it micro meditation, or mindfulness would be closer. I want you to be 24/7 positive affirmations in your head. And I will give you a list of affirmations if you struggle making them up yourself. In another video, I'll make a list and I'll tell you what I tell to myself. This is how I got to where I am, with peace. I have peace in my mind, joy. There's no noise in here. I am the boss in here. I am the God of myself, my own reality. I say what gets thought and doesn't get thought. I say what happens in my reality. I say how I feel. And that's how serious I want you to get about it. You need to get so serious and so passionate with such desire that the hairs in your arms and your neck stand up and end. I want to create a power in you that nothing can take away from you, because external things at the moment you might think can make you feel a certain way, they can't. Once you get a handle on this, nothing can touch you. Nothing. I promise you that. Now, what I propose to do is not take your monkey mind and quieten it down. Your negative monkey mind. Okay, you've got that. So let's take that noise, right, for the moment. But let's turn the noise from a negative to a positive noise. Let it run riot. Let it still run riot. Let's take one small step at a time. Let the chattering carry on. But let's make it positive chattering. And when you find yourself negative, do what I told you, overlay it. The more attention you give this unconscious program, so the more conscious you become of this unconsciousness, the more conscious you're going to become, less unconscious you become. The more your consciousness raises up, the more control you're going to get. And I will get you to a point where your mind is in complete control and you can have peace and quiet whenever you like. Now, like I said, the time factor could be different for everyone. Depends where you're at. How bad your health is will dictate how quickly you get super fit, right? Your mental health is the same thing. If you're really been in a bad way for a long time, then it's going to take time. But you can do it. We can all do it. This is within your reach and it's within your power. And I'm here to help you. And I don't want a penny from you. It'd be wrong of me to ask any money for you. And it really annoys me when I see all these people who are trying to help people and they're, oh yeah, register for this class, and you go there and it's £50, $30, whatever. You know, thousands of pounds, some of them. That's not helping people. I understand we're in a system we've got to live. I've got a real job. Yeah, I have to work all day. I make time for my family, read to my children, you know, have great interactions and ensure that I'm providing both financially and spiritually, if you like. Because you can call this whatever you like. You can call it God. I don't mind what you call it. Whatever makes sense to you and works for you. The energy I have in my house and for my family, I try to make sure that's on point, yeah? And so I'm not asking you for money. If you want to send me gratitude, I'll gratefully receive that. If the universe decides at some point that someone wants to approach me and do this as a job, then great, I could leave my job and I could do this full time and help people. But until that day comes, I will keep doing this because I want to share this with you and I want to change as many people's lives as possible, not just people who can afford it. Everyone should have a peace inside themselves, peace in their time. They should have peace in their time. You should be walking around in a feeling of gratitude and joy. Happiness, like extreme happiness, might not be within reach, but that doesn't mean you can't be peaceful. And I'll teach you about, you know, when they talk about manifesting money and, you know, they make it sound like you can just imagine stuff and it all appears. That can be done, not in that sense. You need to move towards it as well. And we will talk about that in a future video. I'm just watching my clock. That's why I keep looking down, because I've only got another 5 minutes. So where were we? Right, noisy mind, okay? I want to take the negative chatter. I don't want you to shut the chatter up. It's too much to ask in the beginning. And we'll just turn all that noise into positive noise. Let it keep chattering away. But let's change all the chatter to positiveness and you will start to feel better. I promise you. And when you start to feel better, you're not even going to be able to have imagined how good you will feel and how your perception of reality will change. You'll see the world and everything differently. But I want you to pay attention to the wind on your face. I want you to pay attention to the person's body language. And more than all external things, I want you to pay attention to yourself. This is the most important thing. Don't let anything slip by you that's negative. Don't allow negative thoughts about anyone in your mind. It's wrong, okay? And it won't help you. Even if you don't like them and they're being horrible to you, just deal with it in your mind in a compassionate way. And even in a selfish way, if you need to, and say, well, I don't like this person, and if I keep thinking bad thoughts about them, yeah, they deserve to have bad thoughts, in my opinion, like your opinion. But what's really happening when you have them thoughts is you're destroying yourself. Yeah, because you're releasing negative stuff into your body, which affects how you feel. And no one should affect how you feel, but yourself. And you should never want to feel in a negative way. You wouldn't, would you? If you had a choice. Why would you want to feel so bad? It's an awful thing. And once it gets its hooks in, it's so hard to get rid of it. But you do need to also stop leaning on things like alcohol, cannabis, drugs, medication. You need to be clear of mind. You've got to start thinking of ways to wean off of these things so that you can be clear of mind. An alcoholic and a junkie, for example, when they get out of their face because they can't handle the troubles inside themselves for whatever reason. My mother was an alcoholic, and I believe she was hiding something terrible inside herself, and she drowned it out with alcohol. But when you sober up, it's still there because you've not dealt with it. So when we learn to deal with our problems and put them to bed, and that's what I said. Now, let me just explain something. I've got 2.5 minutes. Dealing with your problems, okay? You'll see all stuff said about visit your problems, look at the negative things, look at the childhood trauma, look at the pain. When you look at that and you bring that memory up, what you actually do, because the mind doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination, is you reincarnate your whole being into a negative past event, which your body now thinks is happening now again. The best way to move on is completely forget about it. Let it go. Let it go. Don't give it any energy. The more energy you give it in thoughts, you're building a strong neural network. We want that the body will, the mind, right, will start to break down any neural networks that are no longer needed. So by not giving it energy, it will slowly start to disassemble that neural network and move it somewhere else. Right, I've got about 1.5 minutes, so quickly let me tell you this. It will hurt sometimes and it will be uncomfortable because you're laying down, you've got this negative way, yeah, and you're laying down a positive way now and you feel great. It's excellent, it's working, I feel great. And what happens with a lot of people is they have a big blowout, they get angry, they feel really shit, something happens, they just can't handle it anymore and they believe it's not working and they give up. Let me tell you, that means it's working because you're getting pulled back because your mind goes, the unconscious program goes, yeah, that's great what you're doing, but remember this is really important. This is important because you've been thinking about it a long time. Come back over here and look at this. So don't get upset, just go, okay, recognise that you got brought back. Don't give it any energy and come straight back over here to positiveness again. Keep doing that. This will die, I promise you. We're all the same. We're all human beings. It works for everyone. Once that starts to die, you won't even be able to remember the bad thoughts. You'll struggle because they're dead. They're gone. They have no neural network anymore. If you don't use it, you lose it. Now, I'm going to leave you there. Now, I'm going to do more videos. I'm going to put my email address on. If you need anything, any support, any questions, reach out to me. I don't want a penny from you, okay? This is from a place of honesty and trust and gratitude for where I am. And I want to help you because I was helped. Doesn't mean I'm smarter than you or anything like that. I'm a human being. I want to help my fellow humans. It's been said for millennia by other humans. They've been trying to tell us down the ages. We need to listen. Wishing you all the best, and I'll talk to you soon.